tires in the driveway here, and it's got me thinking about one thing that I've always heard said around the shop a bunch of times is when you only have one tire that's bad, sometimes guys want to throw a new tire on next to a worn tire, and what do they always tell you? Well, they'll wear together. I'm going to tell you why that is exactly wrong. So here's my inner drive dual that I just pulled off of here. You can see she ain't got much tread life left to her. So this would be the extreme example, but I figure this is a good way to demonstrate it. So first thing I'm going to do, measure the tire here, which, you know, really ain't a great way of measuring it with a tape measure or anything. So what I figured is the best way to measure it was some tape. Well, the biggest surface I have around that I could put this on to help demonstrate our little problem here is the side of the hopper trailer. So I guess we'll use that. TY 517s are my favorite drive tires, so that's what I like to run. I was replacing the worn out ones with new ones. They're both same style drive tires, just one's new, one's worn out. So we use the blue painter's tape to measure the circumference of the both of them, and this is what we come up with. The worn out 11R24.5 was 133 3/4 inches in circumference. The brand new 11R24.5 was 138 1/4 inch in circumference. So the brand new one is 4.5 inches bigger circumference than the worn out one. It's raining outside, so let's do some math here in the garage. Obviously a mile, 5,280 feet. Multiply that by 12, you get 63,360 inches. Divide that by our 138 1/4 inch circumference of our new tire, and that's 458.3 revolutions per mile. So that tire goes around 458 times every mile. So I know a lot of the old timers that I used to hang around with or whatever, one tire would go bad and they'd throw on a better tire next to a worn tire. Maybe not always a brand new one next to a completely worn out one, but one that's significantly better. And I would always hear, well, they'll wear together eventually. And here's why that doesn't actually work. What happens if you want to visualize those two tires, say on my truck out there, the same model, same size, but one has deeper tread than the other. So if you'd like to picture, if you have it jacked up and those two tires are both mounted next to each other, as you lower it down, the one with more tread on it is going to contact the ground first. It's going to have to flatten out and make a bigger contact area before the worn out one actually touches the ground. So it has all this surface area in contact with the ground. More weight is on that tire because it's taller. It has to get squished down enough for the other tire to contact the ground. So that tire that's worn more isn't going to have as much contact area. It's going to be able to slide around because that taller tire is going to stay planted because more weight's on it and it has more surface area in contact with the ground. It's going to stay stuck to the road, where the other tire is not going to have as much contact area and not going to have as much weight on it. It's going to be able to slip a little bit. So we have one tire moonwalking down the road next to the other tire. If you take the difference in our circumference, about 4.5 inches, multiply it out over the 458 revolutions it makes a mile, that other tire, this is our extreme example here, but that other tire is being drug 171 feet down the road every mile. If you do the math a little bit further, I put on about 300 miles a day, 171 feet every mile. At the end of the day, that tire is doing basically a slow burnout for almost 10 miles. But you know, that's an extreme example. That's a brand new tire next to a completely worn out tire. So say those two are 4.5 inch different circumference. Half of that, even if a tire is only half worn next to a brand new tire, that's still a slow burnout for 5 miles, or even a quarter of it, 2.5 miles. It's a big difference when you multiply it out over thousands and thousands of miles. And so that's why the worn out tire is actually going to wind up wearing quicker next to a new tire. So when you do mount a set of duals up, you need to make sure that the two tires that are next to each other are as close in circumference as possible to try and limit your wear. Okay, so now that I've explained all that, I got this tractor I got to work on now. So till next time, talk to you later.